Hello and welcome to the Through the Decades January 2026 Premodern Monthly, coming to you from Through the Decades in Louisville, Kentucky. Today we'll be watching the round 2 feature match between Ken on the left on Stiflenot and Spencer on the right on Red Green Goblins. So let's get over to this deck list right now. All right, and first we're starting off with Ken's list here of a mono blue Stiflenot. Now, I've not actually played this deck, although being very familiar with it, having been on the other side of it several times. Austin, you've played this before, so why don't you break it down for those of us that don't know what this deck does?
Yeah, so the main game plan of this deck is to play our namesake card Phyrexian Dreadnought. Uh, it is a 1 mana 12/12 trampler with a little bit of a downside of when it ETBs, you have to sacrifice 12 power worth of creatures, or you have to sacrifice the Dreadnoughts.
Just a small downside, right?
Just a small
Yeah.
downside. But we have a couple nifty ways to get around this downside. We have 4 Stifle, so we can just stifle the trigger as it comes in, so you never have to sacrifice any uh, 12 power worth of creatures. And we have 4 Vision Charm. So with the trigger on the stack, you can use the mode of target artifact phases out on Vision Charm, let that trigger resolve, but since the Phyrexian Dreadnought is phased out, nothing happens. And Dreadnought will phase back in at the beginning of your next turn. It will not have summoning sickness, so it can just attack. So you got 8 ways to stop the uh the trigger from happening, or just getting rid of the Dreadnought for the time being to let the trigger resolve and bring it back. And the rest of the deck is basically counter spells, uh, cantrips to find Dreadnought or the Stifle and Vision Charm, whatever you need. It really leans on Gush, Gush being one of the most powerful cards in Pre-Modern to just draw a bunch of cards. You can pick up lands to use with your foil, since Force of Will is banned. Foil is our next best free counter spell. And we also have a little bit of a swerve plan with our one Parallax Tide.
Yeah, a lot of
Parallax
oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's like Parallax Tide works well with the Stifles. What you could do is stack the trigger to exile lands with Parallax Tide. You could use all 5 of them, point them at 5 of your opponent's lands, and then you could use either a Chain of Vapor to bounce that Parallax Tide back to your hand, giving you the return the land trigger to happen before the lands are actually exiled. So in the end, you will have 5 exiled lands on your opponent's side, and you'll have a Parallax Tide back in hand. Or you can let all 5 of those triggers resolve, and then when the phasing counter comes off, it's supposed to come off and kills the Parallax Tide in the next upkeep. You could just stifle the return all your lands trigger from Parallax Tide as well. So 2 very cheeky ways to really have a one-sided Armageddon.
Yeah, it seems pretty easy to abuse from the Stiflenot side. And then you can see that they've got 3 more in the sideboard, so if they're against a matchup where that is very backbreaking, they can just pivot into having more tides and just using that to take care of all of your opponent's lands, which is just disgusting. But otherwise, yeah, it looks pretty stock here from what I've been able to see. Looks like we've got 1 days, so we've got 5 free counter spells, and then also your counter spells as well. So he's running 4 foil, 4 counter spell 1 day, so 9 counter effects. And then also the Vision Charms can not only stop the Dreadnought from dying to its trigger, but can also protect it because phasing it out is just something that can hide it from a Swords to Plowshares or a Disenchant or Natural Law, any card that someone could use to hopefully be able to interact with this 12/12. So you have to have so many ways to interact with this deck to even have a chance, it feels like. Now, on the other side of the coin, we've got Spencer's list here of Goblins, which looks to be a fairly stock list of the red-green Goblins. I don't see anything, at least in the main deck, that is truly outlandish.
Yeah, the one thing I see right off the bat, the Goblin Tinkerer is sitting in the sideboard. We do not have the Goblin Tinkerer in the main, so game 1 is going to be quite the uphill battle, I believe, for Spencer. Looks like his best way to deal with Dreadnought is those 3 naturalizes, so that's why we have our green splash is for those disenchant naturalize effects to help fight against decks exactly like what Kenneth is bringing here in Blue Dreadnought.
Exactly, yeah, and this is not a good matchup for the Goblins player, to say the least. Dreadnought generally has a good matchup against this, especially with their Hydroblast or Blue Blast out of the sideboard. Now, I would be remiss if I did not mention Spencer is absolutely one of those sickos that loves to have different versions of cards. We can tell with his Wastelands, his Lackeys. Um, so I would be remiss if I did not call out the mismatching, the intentionally mismatching. It is not that Spencer is someone who can't afford the cards. He is truly going for that hideous aesthetic that some people love. But with that said, we will get to our matches, our games here in just a second. All right, and looks like we're starting with a pair of opening hands here. It looks like Ken is mulliganing down to 6. And Spencer just gets to start off with a full 7 and turn 1 Island Port.
Yeah, it looks like I saw a Dreadnought already in Kenneth's hands, so looks like he may be looking for one of those stifle effects or just more counter spells to help protect the Dreadnoughts.
Now, being that there were only 23 players here, and that Ken was, he got the buy round one actually, he might very well know. Oh my goodness, that is a turn 2 12-12.
Yep.
I was about to say, he may very well know what Spencer's on and might feel very comfortable just jamming. Oh,
Well, it looks like we have the naturalize, so
all right, well, the game gets to continue.
yep.
Stifle Knot. Now we know what I'm playing against.
Shit, now you know that I have something.
Port. Go. Oh, yeah.
What a shame. What a shame.
All right.
I don't think play another Mog Fanatic. Sure. Pass to you. I'm gonna take for one. Sure. On your upkeep.
I like the stifle thought.
Yep, and then we have the tap down of one of the lands.
And Ken very quickly just throwing the opt from his hand down. Ken is certainly on him. Now, I will say, I did play Ken in the following round, and after he smashed me, he certainly said that he wanted to play this so his matches were done very quickly. So, and that seems about right. Just make it 12-12. Don't make it 12-12.
Goblin, not a goblin. You were take 2 lackeys.
All right. Let's see here. So it's a lackey, and I think that's a Gem Palm Incinerator.
Yeah, I couldn't see that one, but two hits on Goblin Ringleader, fairly average. Looks like we've got the main deck powder keg.
That's the Singleton main deck powder keg. Yeah, that's going to be pretty good. That'll stop that lackey from being able to come down and drop more power onto the table. However, being at 5 mana, we could just jam, say, a Siege Gang Commander or this War Chief.
Combat. 6. 8.
Not great.
Oh, it looks like Ken bumped the iPad, so now we're getting the glare from the overhead lights. I'll have to give him a little bit of guff for that, but oh, it looks like Spencer was able to squeak out game 1.
Yep, that's really good for the Goblin side. Usually you have to just concede game 1 and just hope that your interaction comes in game 2 and 3 and does well, but taking game 1 is definitely an advantage for him.
Yeah, that is good on him. That's got to be something that's going to make him take a sigh of relief there. But now let's take a look at those lists and see what we're going to be bringing in. All right, now taking a look here at Ken's list, it seems pretty simple to figure out what he's going to bring in. I'm going to guess and say it's going to be those blue and hydroblasts and absolutely those essence flares, which seem silly, but they can absolutely murder a goblin lackey before it can do anything useful. So that's what, 6 cards in? What do you think we bring out, or is there anything that I'm missing here?
No, I think those 6 cards seem to be the pretty easy ones to bring in. The Parallax Tide plan is not really where you want to be.
No.
You don't want to have a quick or a slow game where that comes in. You want to try to kill them quickly. So I think that's a pretty easy takeout. The Flash of Insights, I think, just the same song and dance. That's really more for a grindy matchup, but you're not trying to sit here for a long time.
I agree.
Outside of that, I think you could kind of shave around the edges, maybe a counter spell, a gush, stuff like that.
Yeah, I was
Just
kind
a
of
little
thinking
bit of
counter
throw.
spells or foils maybe. Like I know free counter magic
Yeah,
is good, but against goblins it seems a little suspect to say the least.
yes. Yeah, 3 for winning yourself is still 3 for winning yourself. You don't want to be doing that all the time.
No. But all right, now let's take a look here at Spencer's list and see exactly what he's going to be bringing in. Now, if we take a peek at his sideboard, obviously you mentioned earlier that Goblin Tinkerer. That's going to be really good. Probably the blasts over there, the red blast and the pyroblast. That naturalize is going to be really good. Now, those 3 blank sideboard cards, I loaned Spencer, if I remember correctly. It was an Anarchy and 2 Tranquil Domains. So they have no text here. Although now that I look, there is a 3rd red elemental blast hiding behind the pyrokinesis there.
Yeah. So I think we have 5 pretty easy bring-ins here.
Yeah.
The Gem Bomb Incinerators, they may kill a factory, but outside of that, you're not going to have 12 goblins. Those are pretty easy takeouts. Along with probably maybe the Sharpshooter, but you have a little bit of the combo potential with Prospector, so he may opt to keep that in, but it may just still ultimately be the Sharpshooter. That's just too narrow of a card in this type of matchup where you're not mowing down X1s on Kenneth's side of the board.
Yeah, so let's see. So with the 6 cards, the 4 blast naturalize and the Tinkerer, probably cut. I would say the 4 incinerator, probably the sharpshooter, and I wouldn't hate shaving a Siege Gang commander. Just because getting up to 5 mana against Stifle Knot and having it resolve is gonna be pretty difficult. Although having the lackey plan to cheat that into play, which by the way, the ringleader from game 1 did hit 2 lackeys. Now that I'm looking at the alternate art style, there was not an incinerator, so I'll eat my words there. But I think that would be the safe. Or 6th cut would be probably one of the siege gangs.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
All right, let's see how they did sideboard for games 2 and 3 as we get back to game 2 right now. All right, it looks like we've got. They're keeping. It looks like 7s. So both players look to be pretty happy with what they've got. And Ken, well, he's got a. Is that a Vision Charm and a Dreadnought and a Daze?
Yeah, I believe so.
Right, Goblin Lackey. That seems pretty fair.
Yep. Vision charm. Go. Is that? Oh, does that? Yeah. It's phase it out. Yep. Oh, I look. So it's gone right now. Yeah. Okay. To me.
All right, so it looks like
yeah.
he's learning that he can attack with this lackey still and get through with this. Drop a ringleader.
Goblin.
Oh, that is a beautiful 4. Is he gonna have to discard?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, and Ken wisely using that Daze to stop that that pile driver from ruining his day.
Yep. Looks like he had to discard that mountain to hand size, but here comes 12 from a Dreadnought.
And very, very kind of both players to remember to use the iPad for life totals here.
Yes. Looks like Kenneth just drew a foil, so Dreadnought can just sometimes have these types of games where they have a turn 2 Dreadnought and two pieces of free interaction, and there's not a whole lot any of us can do about it.
Oh yeah, sometimes there are games that you will just lose.
In response to that, in response to that.
Oh, and there we go, Ken. Ken doing us a solid. I'll have to thank him later for that.
we'll put
And then
another
immediately
legendary
not
on
hitting his
there,
own life total, so
bring it
Yes.
he's back to being the worst.
Not a goblin. Not a goblin. Not a goblin. Goblin.
All right. It looks like the Goblin Gods frowned on him for trying to go to the well one too many times and only gave him one goblin that time around.
The ringleaders giveth, and the ringleaders taketh away.
Oh. For me to be able to get the land, Wacky? Right, it's true.
Yeah. So you would have gotten this one, but since
So at this
it's
point,
just-
he can soak up 5 of the attack damage, leaving him at 1.
Go ahead.
So it looks like Spencer's able to
that's-
survive one more turn.
That's gonna get foiled. There we go. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, pretty
Ken
quick
just
flow.
not respecting graveyard order.
I'll go to 1. Yep.
Yep.
To me.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Thank you, Ken.
May have been a turn 2 and an 8.
He must have heard you complaining about him in the postpartum. So, again, thank you for that.
Yep. Turn 2 lands.
All right, and Spencer, yeah, just packing
Yep.
her in.
Like I said, quick round.
Let's yep, and you can hear Ken even talking about how he wants that quick
Bottom
round.
2.
Yeah.
The other 2 are already on the bottom, and I didn't know that.
Oh, nice.
All right, and we're going to 3. So let's see how that game goes right now. All right, and we're starting off game 3. Ken, unfortunately, having to mulligan down to 4 on. Well, this is on the draw, but oof.
Yeah, definitely not ideal. But if any deck can do it, I can see Dreadnought being one of the few that can just slam 2 lands, stifle Dreadnought, and just have a hope and a prayer.
Okay.
Oh, and
Oh,
Ken,
Well,
wow. I mean, he
very
just
quickly.
just packed it in very quickly. I can't blame him. He had the Dreadnought, but just was not ready for that, and that was an unfortunate opening for him. But we can at least see here what he brought in. It looks like the Essence Flares and probably the Blue Blasts. And let's see here. 4.
I should have kept the first hand.
Yep.
Oh, looks like Tinkerer and only 3 of the Blasts. Did he just
Yeah, I was like,
blank on the 4th one?
game 1, I left in 1 incinerator thinking there might be a reason to have 1, and then very quickly realized there was no reason to have any of them.
No, just a
not
fourth
against
blue
you.
blast
Nope.
sitting in the sideboard.
Nope.
Or
Yep.
red blast sitting in the side. Oh well. All right. Well, that was that was certainly something. But all right. With that said, that's going to be all for us here from round 2 at the Through the Decades January monthly, and we'll be back with more pre-modern content from Through the Decades in Louisville, Kentucky.
Well, good luck in it.